Hello and welcome to Peerlyst Community TV. I'm Frank Olhurst, your host, and today we're going to talk about the problems associated with securing cloud-based applications. My guest expert is Rich Campagna, a member of the Peerlyst community and the VP of Products and Marketing at Bitglass, but we won't hold that against him. Rich is an expert on cloud application security and can offer us some sage advice on what to look for when attempting to secure cloud applications. Hello, Rich, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Frank. I'm happy to be here.
Glad to have you. Keeping things secured in the cloud is a persistent concern for our audience. What are some of the challenges that makes it so difficult to master that security, to keep those applications secure?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges is that there's a lot of inconsistency out there amongst cloud applications. App vendors solve some problems, but not all. For example, some may have audit trails, others have encryption, but others don't have any of those things, and very few have things like access control and DLP. So that inconsistency makes it very difficult.
So why isn't just encryption and passwords enough to protect those applications? What's the problem there? Why are they still getting broken into, and just why isn't it enough?
Well, we don't rely purely on those things for premises applications, so why would we with a cloud-based application? Sure, they're a key part of our security arsenal, but as with the traditional application that we have inside of our premises, security must be tailored to the enterprise environment and to the sensitivity of the data itself.
So it's a lot more than just controlling the access to applications then. How can one make sure that only authorized parties can access that application? I think that's where the problem comes into, that, authorization and making sure it's the right person.
Well, you mentioned passcodes or passwords, and I think identity is a great start. Things like single sign-on. We're also seeing a lot of organizations, go beyond identity. So identity is one thing, but as you and I both know, the strength of that identity is only is only as strong as the password the user set up. So we also see things like, people putting controls in place on things like managed versus unmanaged devices. That's another big problem beyond identity within a cloud-based application. If I come in from my managed device, I may have a certain security posture or profile. But if I come in from a device the organization's never seen before, that's potentially suspicious and something we should take a closer look at. So either way, I think what needs to happen here is that security needs to be done in a way that maintains the overall user experience.
No, you make a good point. Ease of use, especially for those end users, is probably at the top of everyone's list, especially for the folks who have to support those end users. But can something truly be fully secure and still easy to use?
Well, I would actually argue that in today's world, at least, if you don't have ease of use, you probably don't have much security at all. For a lot of users, there's a new realization, which is that if they don't like what IT provides them, they're just going to go out and get in on their own, right? And so for that reason, ease of use has, probably in the last 5 years only, which is relatively short, has moved from kind of a nice to have to an absolute must have. And today's security solutions must be absolutely transparent to the user, lest the user go out on their own and find their own IT.
So when it comes down to it, if you're able to make security easy to use, especially across multiple applications, that makes it easier for the end user, and they can still have adequate security that meets their needs. So what's it take to do that? Is that kind of like proxy type solution, federating security? How do we move into that realm?
Well, with in today's environment, enterprises that are adopting cloud apps, typically they're using something like a cloud access security broker, right? And that's the Gartner terminology for this emerging category of products that kind of fills in the security and compliance gaps that are left within most cloud-based applications. It does so in a way that's consistently enforced across all of the different cloud apps in use within an organization, and that consistency is good for two reasons. One, it allows the IT group, the security folks, the compliance folks, to set that consistent set of security policies, get consistent visibility across all cloud apps. But also from a user standpoint, these products are typically built in such a way that they're transparent to the user. They centralize on that single point of identity across all the different cloud applications, and in a lot of cases end up making it actually easier for the user than going direct and having to manage and remember 5 different passwords and having to go through a bunch of different systems to get access.
From a security manager's point of view, it sounds like a great way to handle the problem, but it also sounds like an impossible obstacle to overcome. I mean, all these applications and these hosted services and all that, they have their own flavors of security. How can you make that consistent?
Well, it's that's I guess the biggest part of the challenge, and why this new emerging sort of category of products has started to hit the market, right? And the way that a cloud access security or broker or a CASB works, I mean, they'll use a series of different types of proxies and API-based functionalities, but essentially what they do is they will ensure that as the user goes and tries to log into Office 365 or Salesforce or Box or whatever the app may be, when that user tries to log in with their enterprise identity, they'll be sent or redirected into the Cloud Access Security Broker solution. And then from there, once the traffic is proxied, the vendors have built out these visibility and control capabilities that apply across any cloud app.
I gather that's where SAML comes into play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, SAML is kind of the de facto standard for single sign-on in the the cloud-based applitions that are in use in most enterprises today, and that's exactly how it works. And if I go and knock on the front door of Microsoft Office 365 and try to log in with my corporate identity, Microsoft's going to look up my corporation and redirect me elsewhere for single sign-on. That's how a solution like ours, as an example, is able to ensure that when you as a user log into the application, you end up going through this central point of visibility and control that helps fill in those gaps on the enterprise side.
Okay, so sounds like the security application broker services that you've mentioned is one way to tackle this problem of being able to deal with all these different applications out on the web. I guess kind of that not only applies to just those in-house users of these hosted applications, but I'm sure it's got implications when it comes down to, mobile users, remote users, and elements like that. I'm sure it offers benefits there as well.
Of course, I mean, it's absolutely required. And one of the things that's different and unique about a cloud application versus a premises-based application is with the premises application, you can kind of lock down and control who's able to get to the front door. With the cloud app, anybody can log into Office 365. I can, any device on the planet can go to login.microsoftonline.com or login.salesforce.com and attempt to log in. And it doesn't matter if you're on the premises on a managed device or at a home on an unmanaged device that the IT department's never seen before. You're still able to get to the front of that application and put in your username and password. And so if a cloud access security broker doesn't extend to those kind of unmanaged environments and allow you to put some kind of controls around them, you don't necessarily have a solution.
Okay. Sounds like it's the way to go for a lot of folks out there. I guess the most important thing to do is to first kind of get an inventory of all of your cloud-based applications and services and make sure that Access Broker will support those. And once you do that, I gather you can move ahead and switch over to this federated single sign-on control and have the benefits of true security.
Absolutely.
All right. Sounds like some very good advice, Rich, and thank you for joining us today. That's all the time that we have for today, and thanks for watching. Those seeking more information on hosted application security, please sure to visit the blogs on Peerlyst.com, and don't forget to take a look at the Bitglass product page and be sure to follow Rich on Peerlyst. Thank you for joining us, Rich.
Thanks, Frank. Thanks, everyone.